Are you stupid or dumb? Yes, you. I mean, according to the definitions. I'm obviously kidding, you see. I'm pretty sure that you're neither stupid or dumb. However, there are definitely people in this country that are counting on you being lazy. They're calling you stupid and dumb for being lazy. They're called politicians. And I'm talking to every citizen of the United States of America. We are some of the most intelligent and hardest working people in the world. Yet we fall for one of the oldest tricks in the book every single day. The latest example, the spectacle that is the impeachment of President Trump. You see, I just don't get it. Let me clarify. I understand what impeachment is. It's a charge, not a conviction, but a charge of misconduct made against the holder of public office. In the case of the president, the House has to charge him. The Senate has to convict him. If the Senate doesn't convict him, then he will finish his term as POTUS. However, if he is convicted, he'll be removed from office. And then we'll have to deal with Mike Pence. Now, that's at least until 2020. And if you couldn't stomach the POTUS, then what makes you think you could tolerate his pick to be his successor? But that's neither here nor there. What I don't understand is why you care. Why even think about it if all you're going to do is continue to fall for one of the oldest tricks in the book, divide et impera. Now that's my ill-fated attempt at speaking Latin, and it means divide and rule, or divide and conquer. Yeah, it's a concept that's been around since forever. Take the book of Joshua in the Bible, for example. It takes place over 2,620 years ago. See, Joshua and the Israelites first conquered the central Canaan, then the south, and finally the north, just as God had promised. See, that was a strategic move because had they conquered the south first, as they progressed, the central and the north would have, become more and more concentrated, making them even more difficult to defeat. In politics and economics, it's a little bit different. It's about power. See, Romans chapter 16, verses 17 through 18 says, I urge you, brothers and sisters, to watch out for those who cause divisions and put obstacles in your way that are contrary to the teachings that you have learned. Keep away from them, for such people are not serving our Lord Christ, but their own appetites. By smooth talk and flattery, they deceive the minds of naive people. In America, we practice capitalism, which basically means money over everything. Money is power in this country. Well, in a capitalistic society, despite what anyone tries to tell you, there are only two classes: the capitalists, or the people who provide jobs, and the working class, the people who exchange time and expertise for wages. That's it. There's no middle class, no lower class, or anything else. The problem for capitalists is this: how can they maintain power over the working class when they are outnumbered by a factor of about 28 to 1, according to 2016 and 2018 U.S. Census Bureau numbers, into democracy and the democratic process? On one hand, it's fantastic because in theory, it gives us all a say in what happens in this country. On the other hand, it's terrible because it serves as a platform for capitalists to systematically divide the working class into manageable facets and distract us from what is constitutionally ours: the power to run the country. In other words, they call us middle class, upper middle class, lower class, Democrats, Republicans, and independents. They divide us by age, race, religion, sex, sexual preferences, and orientation, nationality, etc., etc. They make us fight over the same things every election cycle, the things that we're most passionate about, and they have no intention on permanently fixing. Things like immigration, abortion, gun control, and government spending masked as a conversation about the economy. Because if we were really talking about the economy, then we'd be talking about gross domestic product. Yeah, real GDP, using the consumption method, which includes government spending. But I digress. By no means am I saying all capitalists are evil and power hungry. A lot of them may very well be decent people. However, the truth is the truth. And the truth is, the overwhelming majority of ultra-wealthy people in this country only care about themselves and their profits. They run this country, and as a result, the world. They make us fight as a means to divide us up and distract us to the point that we hate one another. We rob, steal from, and kill one another, despite the fact that we have far more in common than there are things that divide us. But what baffles me is this: if 73% of the people in this country identify as Christians, according to a 2017 Gallup poll, then how can we fall for this over and over again? You see, as Christians, according to Jesus himself in Matthew chapter 22, verse 37 to 40, the two greatest commandments are to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read no caveats or qualifiers in there. I didn't see love your neighbor as yourself if they look like you, walk like you, talk like you, act like you, think like you, believe the same things you believe, have as much as you do, share the same religion as you. None whatsoever. What I read were commandments to love God first and then treat people how you would want to be treated by yourself if you were them and shared their circumstance. Period. Look, I don't just try to do what I think is right. I really imagine myself in someone else's shoes and think intelligently about what would help me out the most. Then I give it a shot. That's really how I love anyone that God places in my path, even if only in passing. I can't help everyone, and not everyone will receive my attempt to help them. However, it pleases God, apparently, so I do it. So here's the thing. In my mind, if we're really Christians, we're commanded to love one another despite our differences, maybe even because of our differences. Watch my last post about Christianity, and you'll see what I mean. I don't know anyone who doesn't at least want to be treated with dignity and respect. We all want to be heard and are willing to compromise for the greater good. That's whether we like the fact that we had to compromise or not. We do it every time the government passes a law that you don't agree with. Case in point, who likes speed cameras? How many times have you written a letter to your government when you got one of those notices in the mail? Okay, now how often do you slow down when you pass one? Exactly. Yet again, I digress. The point is, if 73% of Americans who claim to be Christians are being true to our faith, then no one should be able to convince us to hate one another for any reason, since love is the foundation of who we are at our core, right? So are you Christian or not? Now, the last time I checked, according to congressional voting definitions, any vote with over 67% of the members in agreement is a supermajority. So I have an idea. If you claim to be Christian and you claim to care about the impeachment of our current president, or politics in general, and your lifestyle in general, then exercise your constitutional right to do something about it. Go beyond voting for the available candidate in the party that is giving you the illusion of representing your interests. No, literally change the way we practice democracy in our country by doing these three things. First, exercise your faith by loving God first and loving your neighbor as yourself. Because according to Jesus Christ, God said so. It's not that complicated. Then let's figure out a way to scrap the current two-party system where Democrats and Republicans fight obnoxiously and to no end about whose direction for the country is better. Let's transform them into research and development and accounting and finance parties. Anyone can be a Democrat. The party would be full of idea people, big thinkers, like social and civil engineers, etc. We'll have them look to Republicans, who will be elected officials with specialized training, for determining the best way to execute those plans in a fiscally responsible manner. See, both parties have representation in all of the different committees, and together they present a bipartisan bill that has passed both the House and the Senate to the president, whom has been elected based on the will of the people first and foremost, and his or her demonstrated ability to understand the big picture and think as both a new Democrat and a new Republican. Is a little bit of road clarity too much to ask for? I mean, really. Finally, let's drop all of the stupid divisions and classifications placed on us and focus on what's really important. We're all God's children, right? So, as a people, we should be judged by how we treat the most vulnerable members of our society. We're only as good as our weakest link. Deuteronomy chapter 15, verses 7 and 8 says, "If among you one of your brothers should become poor in any of your towns within your land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not harden your heart and shut your hand against your poor brother, but you shall open your hand to him and lend him sufficient for his need, whatever it may be." Now, don't get me wrong, there will always be poor people for one reason or another. However, what's important to us as Christians is how we treat them. That includes U.S. territories and our neighbors whose economies largely depend on dollars from American tourists. I'm just saying. So those are my thoughts, guys. If you care about politics and you want to affect the way this country operates, no matter what party you claim, don't settle for the status quo, okay? The current two-party system is broken, to say the least. Be true to yourself and the faith you claim. Come up with some ideas on how to change how we practice democracy in America. And then take care of one another. You've heard my ideas. What are yours? Comment below and let's start a discussion. Anyway, I gotta go. It's been real. I'm Kelvin Terrell. Thanks for watching. And until next time, God gave me peace. Therefore I walk poised and parent. So should you. Bye now.